I talked to you earlier this week about that double standard involving the pilot of the crashed Germanwings flight 9525, 28-year-old Andreas Lubitz, being a white German rather than a Muslim, and how the terrorism label is thought of very differently. And I even played a clip of Pat Robertson wondering whether the guy was Muslim, because why else would he want to crash a plane? Here's that Pat Robertson clip from earlier this week.
The co-pilot then takes the plane, pushes it into a dive, and crashes it. The passengers are screaming as the plane went down. The pilot is yelling. The voice recorder have got it all on tape. What a terrible tragedy. Was that co-pilot a Muslim? Was he suicidal? What was it about him? He had 630 hours flying experience, which isn't a whole lot.
Now, Bryan Fischer, host of American Family Association Hate Group Radio, Focal Point, I believe is the name of his program, he seized on a news report that reported that the co-pilot, Andreas Lubitz, was looking at gay porn websites. He had a girlfriend at the time of his death, but reportedly he was looking at gay porn websites and websites relating to suicide. And now Bryan Fischer says, forget about race, forget about religion. The right lens is sexual orientation, or at least it might be. Here's Bryan.
The 27-year-old was treated by 4 psychiatrists in the months leading up to the fatal plane crash. A small mountain of drugs believed to be antidepressants were found at Lubitz's apartment. Now one of the things, and I'm not saying this is the cause. Please don't misunderstand me, but it's striking that one of the health risks that's associated with homosexual behavior is an increased risk of suicidal ideation. I'm looking at a piece on a pro-gay website just talking about the suicide rate among youth. Studies have found that GLBT youth attempt suicide more than 3 times more frequently than their heterosexual counterparts.
Isn't it fascinating, Lewis? Religion goes away all of a sudden as the lens through which to analyze this, because Andreas Lubitz was presumably raised in a Christian household, or maybe non-religious, who knows. Race goes away because we're talking about a white German guy, but now we should explore whether it was sexual orientation that drove him to commit this act.
Yeah, and if you are, it's a strange angle. I would say it's conspiracy theory stuff. Is he a shape-shifting lizard? Is he, a Muslim convert? Is he gay? I don't really understand it. I know the guy had demons, but I think it's just simple mental illness here.
And we can't ignore that when Bryan Fischer talks about how gay people have higher rates of suicidal ideation, it's not because they're gay. It's because of the shame and the bigotry that is brought on to those who are part of the LGBT community by people like Bryan Fischer. So he has the information in front of him. It is true that there's a higher rate of suicide attempts and suicidal ideation amongst LGBT individuals, but it's not inherently because they are LGBT. It's because of the repression and the shame and the bigotry that is associated with that. I don't think we're going to get Bryan Fischer to really come to terms with that reality.
No, and you know what? Maybe that did have something to do with this, but we can also say with certitude that he wanted to kill other people, and I don't think that was because he is gay or not gay.
At least he was indifferent to other people dying. We can say that in whatever state he was in, no question about it.